Welcome, my friends, to the Bob and Brad podcast, produced by Bob and Brad, the two most famous physical therapists on the internet, in our opinion. I am exactly one half of the Bob and Brad team. I'm Bob, and today I am joined by Mike Keenitz, who is part of the Bob and Brad crew. You could check out their channel too. Very, very informative. How's that?
Informative on products, I should say.
Yeah, that's right. So, actually, we should have had you do the introduction because Mike is actually going to interview me today.
Yes. Today's podcast is called Interview with Bob. So everything you want to know about him. I've known Bob and Brad for like 9 years now, so I know most of these answers. I don't know all of them, but we got some from common viewers and some other ones I found online and just things I thought would be interesting.
There we go.
So the first
I haven't seen the list, by the way.
He doesn't know these. So the first question, I think, is on everyone's mind is how tall are you, and did you ever play basketball?
Yes, I played basketball. I wasn't actually that great.
You weren't?
No. But I'm 6'6". I've got short arms. That's the problem. In fact, my family, my nephews, give me a hard time saying that I'm Tyrannosaurus Rex. Because
your arms don't look short.
No,
but to your height they are.
They're compared to my height. They are. So yeah, I mean, even though I'm 6'6", I could only reach as high as maybe a 6'2" guy.
Oh really?
So, but I could dunk the ball.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah,
You could dunk the ball. I could never dunk the ball. I'm only 5'10". Okay, when did you decide you wanted to be a physical therapist and why?
Okay, I was at a community college. At first, I had no intention of going to college whatsoever, and I worked construction for a year, and I was going, this is enough of this, and so I'm going to try something else. And I was first going into medical technology, which is more of a lab job, and I started lifting weights with a guy who was going into physical therapy, and at the time, I had no idea what it was. It really wasn't well known at that time. I mean, people, when I tell them what I'm going into, they would have no idea what it is.
Really?
Yeah, even at my 5-year class reunion, I remember people didn't even know what it was. So that's how much it's come around in 40 years. And so anyway, when he talked about it, he goes, that's what I want to do. He described everything a physical therapist would do, and I'm like, I love understanding how the body works, and this is fantastic. This is exactly what I want to go into.
Jeez.
So, yeah.
You just started working out, and that's how it went.
Yeah.
Well, this question relates to that one. So where did you get your physical therapy education, and would you recommend the school to others?
Well, it was the Mayo School of Health Related Science. So the Mayo.
Well, I think you'd recommend it.
Yeah, it was highly. It's a highly sought after program. Very difficult to get into any physical therapy school now. I mean, it just is. I mean, you can even, you're going to be a 4.0 and you still got to make sure you have the observation hours in, and they want to see volunteer work, and it's a tough field to get into. It's occupational therapy, speech language pathology. My daughter went into that. Tough schools. I mean, you sweat it out. Because you go through all that schooling and then apply, and you don't get in, you have nothing. I mean, what are you going to do with that biology degree or whatever?
You went to school, it was like a 4-year program, and it was all PT, or did you have to do some prerequisites?
It was, back then, it was one place that was just a 4-year program total. That was the U of M, but the Mayo Clinic was 5 years at that time. So we did 3 of undergrad, then 2 of grad, and they gave you a degree then, a bachelor's degree when you're done.
Okay.
And also a physical therapy degree, obviously, but so.
So then, where was your first job?
First job was the Mayo Clinic. They offered me a job.
Right away?
They.
Were you top of your class?
No, no.
Good to know.
No. I was social director though.
What does that mean?
Well, I was part of the officers.
How many people were in your class?
40.
Oh,
40.
That's not too bad. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know what volume sizes classes are now.
No, I don't know either. I was probably in the middle of the class, grade wise, but not everybody was offered a job at Mayo, so I felt good about that.
Yeah.
They thought enough of me to hire me.
I mean, there's book smarts, and then there's applying smarts,
Right,
like actually
right.
working in the clinic. Because I remember when I was in school for PT assistant, we had one of the smartest girls in the class. Like, she had to take her test a few times. She just got so nervous, like when she was taking the boards. So I was like, she was top of our class, but like when it came to actually
I
applying
got the
stuff, it was
exact same
harder.
story, Mike. Exact same story. She was top of her class,
Hmm.
4.0 all the way through college, and they always paired me with her because she got so nervous on doing any of the practical stuff.
Oh, really?
So we get done with the first year, which was mostly academic,
Hmm.
and she quit.
Really?
Yeah, she just didn't
Jeez.
want to work with people. Everybody said, she needs to be in a lab or something.
Yeah.
Where
So she
she
had
is.
the smarts, just
Right.
didn't have the
Oh yeah.
practical use of it. So when did you decide you want to run your own therapy company? So for some of you that don't know, Bob actually owned the therapy company we worked for.
Yes. I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I remember being like when I was 19, like I was already trying to come up with company ideas.
Hmm.
And then when I went to got my degree in physical therapy, I'm going to start my own business. Some point, I'm going to start my own business. And so it was always on my mind. In fact, all my reading for pleasure is our business books. People think that's weird, but I think it's like,
Well, yeah, I guess we all have our little outlet. I
yeah,
mean, I read a
little,
lot of nutrition books. I guess you
yeah,
like
yeah,
business
exactly.
books.
When you converse with Mike on nutrition, you sound like, I mean, I think you know better than some of the nutritionists what the,
I just get fascinated by it, even though I have
right.
no degree or background in it.
I had another friend like that too, who he could converse on that level of like probably a PhD. I mean,
Really?
yeah. So
So when did you start your therapy company?
that was 1988.
Ooh, I was 1 year old.
Were you really? Oh
Well, it depends what
gosh,
time. I was born in the fall of '87, so.
gosh, and it was so. I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, you just kind of learn your way through it. I did get a master's degree in Human and Health Services Administration. I could get a free degree at Mayo. They paid for any schooling you go to.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when you worked there.
So when you worked there, you're going to school?
Yep, I was going to
Is
school.
that what you did at St. Mary's
Yep,
University?
at St. Mary's. Yeah.
Which is, yeah, in our town.
Yep. It was a program that they brought to Rochester.
Oh,
So
okay.
I didn't have to drive there, but it was evenings and it was weekends, and so it was tough. I mean, just from the standpoint of working full time. I had a child at the time, married,
Oh, really?
and yeah, and trying to finish the degree. It was a challenge, but it really helped me with business. I mean,
Yeah.
no doubt about it. So
Next question. Why did you start a YouTube channel?
that. So Brad and I we're always trying to come up with like a little side business.
Hmm.
He always thought it kind of like a little boutique business, so we talk about it. And at one point, we decided that we were going to create some videos back to DVDs. You guys know what DVDs are, don't you?
Yeah.
So we created some DVDs for people in the nursing home that like for performing range of motion or for injury prevention for the staff. So we made up these nice DVDs and we did a mailing to the administrators to see who wants to purchase one.
Yeah.
So how many do you think we sold?
1 or 0?
0. And we get done with that. And I'm like, this. First off, how many nursing homes are there? This just wasn't a good business idea.
Yeah.
So I'm watching YouTube and I see Gary Vaynerchuk. Mike knows who he is. So he's kind of a guru in the area of social media. And I watch him, and this is a long time ago, 10 years ago now?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, if there's some place that, some topic you're interested in, you just go into that topic and you talk about it on YouTube, and it'll grow and grow and grow, and it'll turn into things you never believed it would. He was absolutely right. I mean, everything he said was true, and I watch him till this day now because if he says something, I do it.
Yeah.
I mean, if he tells you to go on a different social media site, I do it because this guy was dead on.
And
so
YouTube was around, but it wasn't, I don't think, super mainstream popular
No.
like it is now.
No.
Because I remember you kind of started, and I started working for you shortly after that. And I always thought it was weird you guys were doing YouTube videos.
Oh yeah, my son, this the famous story here from the famous therapist is that the first video I did, I wasn't even going to do it with Brad. I thought, oh, Brad's not going to want to do this.
Hmm.
So I did it in my basement, and my son Matt and his friend are down there, and they're going, Dad, nobody's going to watch. Nobody old watches YouTube, and I had done one on arthritis,
Uh-huh.
and that video, not right away, but it's hit a couple 100,000 now.
Yeah.
So, and he doesn't remember saying that, of course, but I just really stuck in my mind like, here I am.
Yeah.
I'm 50 years old. I'm in my basement and I'm making a YouTube video. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It
he's
was
already running his own therapy
running my
company,
own company.
and he decides to go to YouTube.
I mean, my company at one point had 50 employees.
Yeah,
So,
it was pretty large when I
Right.
started working for you.
right. So it was it is really unusual that we did this. And then when
Mhm.
I talked to Brad about it, he's like, well, I don't know. Okay, we'll give it a try. And
Yeah,
So
he just kind of jumped on. Well, that goes to the next question. Someone actually asked this from YouTube. How did you meet Brad and later become partners in crime?
So Brad was originally an employee of mine,
Mhm.
and I would just ask Brad because I actually didn't remember how we met, and that I don't know. Did you know Diane Bros?
Mm-mm.
She was another physical therapist that worked for us at Hillview, and she was both Brad and her went back to therapy. Went to therapy school at an older age.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
they I think Brad was near 30 or something like that. I mean, pretty
Yeah, I
impressive.
remember he worked for a while
Yeah, he
before
worked,
that.
and so did she. So they both kind of studied together.
Mm-hmm.
And we were looking for a therapist in Caledonia, Minnesota. And she talked to Brad and said, "Hey, would you be interested in this?" And
Mm-hmm.
he was like, "Yeah." So that's how it started. And he was doing the inpatients and outpatients there, and he's a great employee first off, and now he's even a greater partner. I mean,
Yeah.
he just. We have obviously are the yin and yang a little bit. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he kind of has his character on the channel.
Yeah, he does, and
The-
that's real Brad. That's not. He's not really making that up. I mean,
No, I mean that's how he acts. It's kind of funny to see these two like talk to patients because they're a little more reserved
sure.
working with patients, and then being on YouTube they're a little more animated. So it's kind of funny to see the both parts of them. I should say. I'd say Brad's really animated on YouTube,
He is.
but I mean that's his personal. That's how he
Yeah,
is. When
yeah.
when you talk to him, not in front of patients. That's just
Right,
kinda
right.
how
He's
he
again
is.
more reserved in front of patients. But
Yeah.
if you probably go out to a bar with him, it's going to be worse.
Yeah. All right. If you could do it all over again, would you still go to school for physical therapy, or would you go for something else?
Well, if it went back in time again, I'd absolutely. I love
Yeah.
the fact I'm a physical therapist. A little tougher now, I'll tell you. It's just so expensive now to become a therapist.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
7 years of schooling at least,
yeah,
and
7 years and
typically it's major universities that hold it, so
yeah,
it's more expensive in general.
schooling is so much more expensive now. I mean, I'm going to sound like 100 years old here, but when I went to school, the tuition was, I think, 2,500 for the graduate
Oh,
program,
really?
and I got a $3,000 stipend from the mail.
Oh, really?
They pay a stipend, so I actually made money. But
Doing
I
that?
had to have living expenses. But
Yeah.
I mean, it just and when I went to school, tuition was so cheap then too that you could work and pay off your
Mhm.
tuition. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just such a disadvantage now. I mean,
That was a lot. I mean, when I went back to school for PT assistant, I looked at PT, but I was like, I was, ready in my mid
you're already
20s, and
dead,
I'm like,
right?
yeah, and I was already in debt from before. I'm like, there's no
Sure.
way I want to be spending 7 years going. Plus, I didn't like. I knew I'd have to really up my grades and stuff, and I was just like, no, assistant route is for me.
I like the
But-
job, but I mean, I love the job, but the struggle you would take to get through it now. I mean, you're going to be in debt for a long time unless you got someone funding you.
Yeah,
You know,
even if you get a good job right away.
yeah, even if you get a good job. So,
All right, not to be a downer, we'll go on to the next topic. Who do you look up to the most in the realm of physical therapy?
oh, there's a lot of them actually. I like Robin McKenzie.
Mhm.
I mean, he's a physical therapist that has passed, but he was from New Zealand and he developed the McKinsey method for back pain and but shoulders, knees, and he'd definitely be number one in my book.
Hmm.
But I like Brian Mulligan, who's also from New Zealand. I had the pleasure of seeing him. Brad and I went to his course together.
Really?
Yep, he's a character. He's a real character.
Was that over here in New Zealand?
That was here.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah.
They traveled there just to see him. I was
No,
like, wow.
he came over. I liked James Syriacs. He was considered the father of orthopedic medicine. I really liked reading a lot of his stuff too. So, as far as anybody right now, I mean, Shirley Sauerman. I'm reading more of her stuff now. It's more getting to the core of what the problem is,
Hmm.
as opposed to just treating the problem and it comes back again.
Yeah.
So um, I like. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on his first name, but McGill, the one I wanted you to see if we could interview.
Oh, yeah.
He's really good on back pain. I mean, he's
Is that Robert?
not
No.
a PT. I don't think so.
I don't remember his first name.
Yeah. That I think that covers it. And there's a lot of them. I love reading on therapy now, and doing research on it.
I can just see you just reading more therapy books, while watching your own YouTube channel and doing other stuff.
And also reading my business book shit for
Ah,
pleasure.
next question. How do you continue to learn in order to stay on top of things within your role?
Yeah, and that's what
I
we're
guess.
talking about here. Yeah,
Yeah. Just
I do. I really. I'll read stuff online, but I really try. I really am more of a book person,
Really?
and so yeah, I look for any book put out by therapists. I often will read.
Really?
I mean, if I find them. If anybody has a good book out there that you want me to check out, let me know because that's the way I tend to learn. I don't like to sit at the computer. I will when I'm typing and putting together a program
Mhm.
ourselves. But I know a lot of times this is quite often the case. We'll get suggestions from our viewers
Yeah.
as to something they've tried or someone they like following, and please keep sending those our way because that's how I found out about McGill actually.
You guys found that shoulder doctor too.
That shoulder doctor,
Can't
yep,
think of his name right now. But
Kirsch,
Yep.
yep, Dr. Kirsch. His book's right back here, I think. But yeah, that's exactly the way. I feel that's one thing that has been nice about our YouTube channel growing is that we have access to more people that can give us information and
Yeah.
feedback. So
All right, next question. This is from a viewer, by the way. As a physical therapist, knowing all about posture, do you follow every movement correct, or do you also let things slide time to time and have bad posture?
of course we let it slide at times. It's a struggle. I mean,
Yeah.
you struggle every minute of the day.
Yeah.
We're gonna straight up right now. And one of the most irritating things to me was I was working at my desk, and my wife would come by, and she goes, "Your posture's bad." I mean, and
Just let you know.
every time she come by, my posture's bad. So, and I got to the point I actually put a mirror right over here on the side so I could look
Oh,
and
really?
see how my posture was. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I do exercises every day to improve my posture.
Mhm.
I work on it every day, but I'm just like any other human. It's a problem, and I'm a tall guy, which I think it makes it harder. To be
Yeah,
honest, with you.
I'd assume.
It's easier for me to be in vehicles where I almost have to be bent
Yeah,
over
yeah.
sometimes.
It's so hard when you're on a task too, when you're
Yeah.
so into it. Like I notice when I'm doing stuff on my computer,
Yeah,
I'll fall
lean
right
right
into
in.
that.
And that really made a difference to me. I know we've mentioned videos, but I got some reading glasses for the computer.
Oh yeah.
And you got some too, though. You got
I just
some
have
for the
blue lens
blue
glasses.
lens, yeah.
My
because
eyes start to bug out.
I
after a
I
while.
have bifocals, and you have to go like this in order to see. And so
Yeah.
I had got glasses that are all just for reading at 40 inches away from the screen, and they makes a big difference. So
Yeah.
I that definitely helped my posture by doing that. So
Next question. If you could turn back time and talk to your 18-year-old self, what would you say?
it's always one of those things that I've thought about that question
Uh-huh.
because I think I don't know if Tim Ferriss asked that one, but I do kind of take the stance like I don't know if I'd say anything because I don't want to screw it up. I really like how my life turned out.
Yeah.
If you mess with the formula, something else happens and you got to beware of what you wish for sometimes. Like I had the biggest crush on this girl in high school, and I saw her now, and I won't mention her name, obviously, but she's like horrible looking now. I shouldn't say that, but
Uh,
beauty is more
l-
than skin deep. But
luckily, things didn't pan out
yeah,
with that
that's
one,
right,
huh?
right. So again, beware of what you wish for, and life takes you in different paths, and I have very very few regrets in
Yeah.
life. My and I never wanted to have a regret of omission where I didn't try something. I'd rather try something and it didn't work out
Mm-hmm.
and not regret that than not try something. That to me would be the biggest regret.
Yeah.
So,
All right, next question, a little different one. If you could have dinner with three people, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
um, well, on my business side, I like Warren Buffett. I'm just a big fan.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. He's a sharp guy, but
Huh.
I would like to maybe a few more years ago because he's starting to show his age a little bit. He's 90.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think I would like Robin McKenzie. I think, my favorite. And I don't know if those two would get along. I don't think. But
I guess
so,
maybe they could be different dinner parties.
right, right, a separate dinner party. Who would be my third guy?
Could be a
Ah,
gal,
yeah, could be a
anyone.
gal.
Maybe a Minnesota Viking favorite. I don't know.
Yeah, I would rather go for the intellectual
Oh,
side.
really?
Yeah, I actually I become more of a fan of Bill Gates lately. Just
Yeah, he's a fascinating
Yeah,
guy.
he's fascinating. He's a very, very smart guy, and he's, you can say what you can about him because he's pretty, I think, cutthroat in business. I mean,
Yeah.
but he's certainly trying to do the right thing now with all of his money, and
Mm-hmm.
he's played a big role in getting the vaccine going, and so
Yeah, he had a documentary series, I
yeah, I
believe,
saw
a
that.
while ago on Netflix, and he was looking at alternate energy and
Yeah,
different things and
yeah,
sustainable resources for people in like third world countries and
yeah,
stuff
for the
too.
climate change. I mean, he's making big inroads on that,
Yeah.
and so. Um, he's a fascinating guy. I mean, I've heard lots of stories about him. Like I heard one story where they were on a trip and they were going to go bird watching the next day. And so he reads the book that night
Mm-hmm.
and he carried on conversation with the guide like he was an ex. I mean,
He could just read that
yeah,
fast
he
and
right.
skim through stuff.
He could remember everything he reads pretty much, and
Jeez.
so yeah, he's a fascinating guy. I mean, so
Next question. This is from a viewer as well. What is your diet and exercise routine at your age? Are those things important?
oh, of course they are. Yeah, diet's more important than you think it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's more important than the working out actually, but I do both.
Yeah.
And I work out a lot, but everything I do is kind of in moderation. Like I run every day, pretty much, but I only run like 2.3 miles.
Yeah, just a short distance.
Yeah, and I lift weights almost every day, but I only do like one body part set. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll do some um, I do some body weight exercises like push-ups and squats, and so I'm and I'll go for a walk with my wife in the afternoons now lately with COVID, and
Mm-hmm.
so I work out a lot. I like to stay active. As far as food, I'm pretty clean on my food too. I mean, my downfall is peanut M and M's, and so I let
Peanut
myself,
M&Ms?
yeah,
Huh.
I let myself have those, once or twice a week,
Mm-hmm.
and but beyond that, I don't eat any additional sugar.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a lot of plant food, but I eat meat too. I'll have a lot of salmon,
Mm-hmm.
but um, it's freshwater salmon, and it's as good as you can buy. I think
Yeah.
without the hopefully too much mercury or anything else in it. But eat some chicken, but again, it's the free range chicken,
Yeah.
without the antibiotics and all
Mm-hmm.
that. So, and we had steaks last night because my daughter and her son, and her husband were here, and so was my wife's nephew and his wife. So
Mm-hmm.
we had a lot of fun.
Next question. We only got two more.
Sure.
Tell us about your family And or any pets. And I'm going to laugh about the pets thing because I know all about his old cat.
Yeah, so I don't send me any hate mail or anything or any hate comments, but I really don't like cats that much.
I
And
know.
yeah, and so we never had a cat. And then all of a sudden, my daughter came with me to work, and we were at a nursing home
Hmm.
treating some people, and they had free cats there. It's like, oh. So she comes down. She's a sweet little girl. She's like 6 years old. And she goes,
Yeah.
Dad, they got free cats down there. And she brings one. And she's like, it's the cutest little, kids.
Yeah. They're kittens.
So I like, can we have it? And so I say yes, and my wife can't believe it. So like, she wants a cat. She loves cats.
Hmm.
So anyway, we get the cat, and the cat was okay for many years, but then it started puking everywhere and
Yeah.
peeing everywhere, and
I knew Bob when the cat was getting older and having more
yeah,
problems, so Bob would often come to work complaining to us about his cat.
right.
I
So
have 2 cats, by the way. So.
yeah, and all my kids love cats. Sarah's got 2, Jamie's got 4.
She's got 4?
She's got 4 now,
Holy cow.
and a dog.
Yeah.
Matt's got 1. So
Hmm.
I got 3 kids, a daughter and 2 sons,
Two
2
daughters.
daughters and 1 son, and all great kids. Really happy to have had them. So
Are you still happy there, Rob?
and still happily married, and we just had a 36-year anniversary. No, what is
Oh,
it?
he's forgetting.
Yeah, I'm forgetting.
Don't ask me. I don't know.
Is it 30?
I'm only 33.
85. Yeah, 36-year anniversary.
Oh,
So
well, congratulations.
thank you.
Oh, yeah, you just had that the other week, didn't you?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, the last question was from a viewer again. What advice would you have for a young PT student about to start school?
Um, well, I would say at first, experience all the areas of physical therapy.
Hmm.
Because there's a lot of different areas you can go into. I mean, it's almost like um, doctors picking a residency.
Yeah.
And you might be surprised. You may think this is an area I would never like,
Hmm.
and you'll find out you'll love it. Or like I have a good example where a classmate of mine, he wanted to be, in the sports arena,
Yeah.
and he goes down to the University of Nebraska
Yep.
for clinical. So he's down there for 6 weeks. He hated it. I mean, he said the athletes were so arrogant. They just even the head trainer they treated like crap, and
Yep.
they were so, and so he found out he hated that, and he found a different area that he loved. But once you find the area, you feel like you've experimented enough, then I think you should focus and get, your skill level really high in that one area.
Yeah.
Because in order for you to be good, you're going to have to focus. I mean, it's just, if you try to dabble in areas, you're always going to just be average in all those areas.
Yeah.
And then you want to find out who are the best people to learn from in those areas. I did that. Actually I actually did a survey of therapists.
Really?
Yeah, it was published and everything. Asking them what therapist had the greatest influence on them.
Hmm.
Robin McKenzie ended up being number 1.
Oh, really?
So I studied Robin McKenzie, and if I studied someone that didn't, their teachings didn't agree with Robin,
Hmm.
I wouldn't read that stuff
Oh,
because
really?
yeah, it'll take you off in a different direction.
I
It'll
guess.
be, yeah.
You're going to get answers from both sides.
Right, and suddenly you're again doing a little bit of that, a little bit of that. I was like, it's gonna work with Robin McKenzie's method, like Mulligan does,
Hmm.
So I would, and Syriax does, and so these guys, their teachings all work together. Not that I don't mind hearing some other things
Yeah.
and looking at it, but you get into some wacky stuff, and you get into some stuff that it becomes very faddish,
Hmm.
and it
I mean, they're almost trying to sell you on
yeah,
something.
they are.
Stuff gets rebranded a lot, I know.
Yeah, they do.
It'll be the same thing from 20 years ago,
Yeah.
but regurgitated in a different way.
Perfect. You're right.
I discovered that.
Yeah, and when you've been at it a long time, you see it again and again,
Yeah.
and when you first come out, you think, oh, this is how it's going to be. This topic, and like, all of a sudden, like 5 years later, it's no longer there. You know, I mean,
Hmm.
it's like, what happened to that? I mean,
It's just gone.
so yeah, it's just gone. So
I would say too, like every physical therapist is kind of different in what they like. Because being an assistant when I worked with Bob and Brad, those you two are pretty similar.
yeah,
But we had other therapists through the years that I've worked under, and there's been like I've worked under like 6 different
and
ones,
way different.
and they all kind of have what they like and what they don't like. I kind of
And what they
discovered.
believe and what they don't
Yep, and
believe.
some are more hands-on approach, some are more modality approach and
Yeah,
stuff like that. But yeah, it's
yeah. And I kind of went from first to what if you call mobilization manual therapy
hmm
to now, like I said, I'm trying to figure out more what is the core problem with somebody. Because
yeah.
if you get rid of that, then you don't need the other stuff. I mean, it
hmm
takes care of itself. And I really believe in self-teaching as much that people can, self-treat as much as possible.
Yeah, I
And
mean that's your entire YouTube
yeah,
channel
that's
is
yeah,
self-teaching basically.
yeah. And I always try to follow that in practice too. So. Well, Mike, those were good questions.
Well, that's all 16.
All right.
Uh, I guess that's it for this podcast. Next week we'll have a different PT on. We'll
Yeah.
be interviewing Bob and I. So, what is that one on?
Sacroiliac mostly, and maybe
Sacroiliac.
even pain with pregnancy. So
Okay.
it'd be a good one because I'm not a real expert on that, obviously.
Yeah, both guys probably aren't. So
Yeah. So
come back next week for another episode.
yeah, well, check us out. Thanks.
Thanks.